Adedoyin Balogun story?
Baldon started, safe to say, unofficially around 1995. Back in school, I used to be called Bowsy, which was from my surname Balogun, right? Of course, on graduation, I wanted something a bit different. So I maintained the Bao, which was from Balogun, and I removed the Y, which was from doing my first name, and that's how I got Baldon. The name was catchy, it was easy to remember, it was easy to pronounce, and that's how we coined Baldon as a brand name. I started with a passion that turned to a business, and now it's grown. The Baldon brand, as we know it today, started in university during one of the endless ASU strikes. Then the military president, Ibrahim Babangida, was head of state and had threatened to sack all the lecturers in the university. I think after staying 2-3 months with no end in sight, I needed to do something. A friend of mine, his mom, had just come back from the US and had garments and t-shirts for sale. So took some of her, was able to sell, and after selling, exhausting the dozen, people wanted more. And really that's where it all started from. Of course, she didn't have more because they were exhausted. And I just said, look, this thing can be done here now. It can be done locally. And that's where it really birthed. That's where the entrepreneurship spirit really kicked in, because I just saw a need. And I saw that, I was young. I had so many young contemporaries also that wanted nice hippie clothing, affordable. And I said, look, I can make this thing work. And that's how it really started. So from t-shirts, we moved into shirts, school was called back, and I just continued in jobs, At the tail end of my university, so my dad had called me that, okay, so I want you to go in for a second degree in medicine. And I think at that time, fashion had found me. And I said, no, I wanted to do this thing. Yes, was pretty disappointed, but I trudged on, and I knew that this was it for me. I was happy, which was critical. I was not following any other person's passion. It was my passion. NYC came to the rescue and posted me to Abuja. I saw a virgin land, I saw opportunities, and I've not looked back since then. So I think in a summation, that's really my story. Yes. You wouldn't believe what I wanted to be when I was growing up. I wanted to be a sculptor. Yeah, I wanted to be a sculptor, but I actually did not know they were called sculptors. So I told everybody that cared to listen, I want to be a carpenter. I think right from infancy, I'd always had a flair for artisanship. So my mom would tell you, if you meet her, that what do I want to be? I want to be a carpenter. And I was proud because I found it amazing that somebody would take a block of wood, and mold, and before something comes out. For me, that was genius. So I wanted it. I wanted to be that. So that's how I'm going to be. I never wanted to be a pilot, all those fancy things. Nope. I wanted to be a carpenter. I wanted to be a sculptor. That's what I wanted to be. And it evolves, really. Every entrepreneur will tell you that. It just takes you taking the first step. If you take your first step and you are sensitive to your environment, the environment will point you to the next line. Because more than the art of making money is the art of satisfying needs and creating value. Money will naturally follow value. It's natural. And you get to learn that, okay, so we started with t-shirts. Then people say, oh, but I can't wear t-shirts formally. Can you do shirts? Then from there, okay, but if you have shirts, I need to wear something under the shirt, trousers, and it just cascades and it just keeps on going. So one thing leads to another. I'm also careful to let people know that it's not about being a jack of all trades. When you're young, it's the best time to start. Not taking anything away from if you're older, but you get to experiment. You get to try all sorts. Then you get to now know what works and what doesn't work for you. So you start and you're able to say, is this thing really working? No. So there are some things we discontinued because I just felt, no, this is not me. I liked it, but could I give optimum value, vis-a-vis or comparative value compared to what else the other things I was doing? And when you ask yourself the critical questions, you're able to say, look, this might not be for me. Because fashion is wide. I mean, from children to female to male, it's wide. You have street style, you have the formal wear, you have bridal wear, you have lingerie. It's massive. So you need to be able to say what really works for me. Where can I strike, and where can I have comparative advantage, in this market space. So that's just it.
What do you wish you knew before you started?
That's a much more another question, because sometimes knowing too much is also a problem. Yeah. There's a disadvantage in knowing too much, because when you know too much, oftentimes it's scary. You might not be able to take the first step, because you're thinking too much. A lot of times, and I dare say, the Dangotes, the Bill Gates, the Steve Jobs, a lot of times they just delved into it. I dare say, yes, business school is good. Yes, business plan is good. Yes, it's good to have all your bases covered. But sometimes you just want to be like Nike and just do it. Dealing with artisans is something you can never learn in the schools. You just learn that people are different. You learn character traits and just learn basically the art of managing people. Human resource management. The clients, the artisans, the tailors. That I think is critical. Not just for fashion, not just for tailoring, but in every endeavor. The human resource. As a nation of 200 million people, it's probably our biggest, most looked at and unused, undeveloped, untapped resource. Most of the countries that are top 10 GDP, they don't have crude oil, they don't have mineral resources. So you have countries like Japan, it's just an island. They have volcanoes, they have earthquakes, and they're top there. You have Switzerland. Switzerland really doesn't have much. They export chocolates, false teeth, and meanwhile they are secretariats to FIFA, to big like the WHO, UN. So it's a bit of a so we need to know that we have what it takes within us. If I probably knew how to manage things better in that regard, yes, maybe. Other than that, really, it's an adventure. You just enjoy it. That's my take on life. Just enjoy it.
So, you started with selling clothes.
Yes.
Then, you do not have any background making clothes.
Nope.
So, do you make clothes now?
I design.
You just design.
I design, and God has blessed me with a very keen eye for a lot of things. So I could see something, and yes, I do, and spot it, and looking for how to execute, and oftentimes I could wake up and I have a wave, and I just need to put it down, and I just have collections until I'm ready to, So that's just it. Maybe looking back now, if I was younger, I would have said, oh, let me go to a premium fashion school and get maybe more training. I wouldn't have had to have made as many mistakes, But like I said, other than that, it's a journey, because no matter how many fashion schools you go to, you would make mistakes on the job. It's your passion, it's your commitment, it's your drive that will sustain you. The things you learn in fashion schools are theoretical. When you meet with the hands-on, you get to see that it's a different kettle of fish. Yeah. Typically, I just need to know that, first and foremost, you even understand the rudiments of tailoring. Oftentimes, I don't look for the most perfect, because the best of tailors are very problematic. They tend to have a chip on their shoulder, and they tend to have very, very serious character deficiencies, maybe because of the skill set they have. For me, once you can use the machine and you are teachable, then we're good to go. Because nobody knows it all. I need to be able to tell you this is how I want it. You drop all the baggage, all the knowledge from where you're coming from at the door. You come in and become a sponge. So I'm telling you, you're going to do it like this, you're going to do it like this. You need to be receptive enough to understand that we are both having this conversation because of the clients. If there were no clients, we will not be sitting here. So it's not about what you want or how you feel it should be done. It's about how the client wants it. So once that is understood, we're good to go. Yes, are there mistakes? Yes. Like every human being, there are margins of error, but there are also sincere errors and there are deliberate errors. So it's about telling the truth. Now somebody, if you have tailors who are strongly opinionated, this is how I want to do it, you're going to have an issue. I tell you, no, okay, it's going to be like this. I'm going to have an issue with you. And usually they don't last. Because it's not just about the artist and the craftsmanship. You also need to understand that there are rules. There's a client wants something. You cannot superimpose your desires on what the client wants. So ability to understand that, then we're good to go. I have a very strong faith in God, and I've had amazing pastors who guided me, from youth. So that has been one. I've also had people I've looked onto for different things, inspiration, guidance, So I have good, bad, and ugly. I have people that I never want to be like, and I look at where they failed, and I have it, at the back of my mind. I have people who I'd always want to aspire to be. So you have world-renowned brands, and you have local brands. Now, in between there, you can create a graph for yourself. You can plot your own personal graph and say, look, okay, so this person did well here or missed it here. I'd want to be able to fill in that gap. So it's really hard for you to really point at one person, but it's just a potpourri, so to say, of different attributes from different people. The moment you assume that you've arrived, you begin to fail. So it's important that you always look at what is the next thing. But I tell you, one of my most challenging years was 2010. Everything that could go wrong went wrong. And they said when it rains, it pours. And boy, did it pour, At that point, I did critical introspection. There were shipments that were cancelled from the vendors that are meant to produce abroad. The clients here wanted refunds for their accessories. It was just nasty. But through it all, you ask yourself some critical questions. Is this really where God wants me to be? Is this really where I should be? Your ability to answer those questions truthfully. Because yourself, the worst form of deceit is self-deceit. It's yourself. So when you're able to answer that, you're able to chart a course. And it's not going to be magic. Because, like we were saying before the interview started, unfortunately, the younger generation, they don't want to fail. But failure in itself is part of success. If you talk about the famous dollars, if you talk about the MK Abiolas, if you talk about, they all have a story of failure somewhere tucked in. And that's why there's a saying that says, behind every dark cloud, there's silver lining. Failure is part and parcel of it. And both holy books address it. The Bible talks about the path of a good man shines brighter and brighter. It also talks about if you fall, 7 times you shall rise up again. It's all part of a process. And it makes you better. It makes you also, when you are mentoring people, when you are teaching people, you are not oblivious of what they are going through because it's something you've also passed through, so you can relate to them and with them. Let me start with the best piece of advice. It was actually a message that I heard, and it's what really swayed me into doing this thing. While I was toying with the idea that should I not venture into tailoring, a couple of scriptures. Have you found a man diligent in his work? He shall serve before kings and not mere men. So, for me, what I got from that is that diligence. Okay. And there were some other scriptures like that. But what am I trying to point at is that sometimes it is not, the advice you're looking for doesn't necessarily come from a business mogul telling you this is discipline, be this. It comes from the little nudges. It comes from that Sunday sermon. It comes from that Friday mosque. It comes from just studying and watching the life of somebody that you feel you'd like to be like. Every man has a secret. Every man. For some, it's just their drive. For some, it's their imagination. And everybody is unique. So it behoves on you to find yours, and stick to it. So when we talk about business advice, business itself is not business if you can't satisfy a need. The word money, currency, is from the root word current. Naturally, current will flow towards value. So seek to always offer value. I tell my staff there's this principle of the extra mile. When a client comes in, be able to offer style advisory, be able to offer a bit more. The secret of the extra mile. You can always get fashion designers a dozen a piece, but what makes you different is what we should always try to do and to achieve. Now, as regards the worst, someone will say, oh, you think there's a future in this thing? You better go and get yourself a proper paying job. How can you sustain a family, and enjoy the finer things of life through tailoring? So which is why you need to come to yourself. There needs to be self-awareness of who you are and what you're meant to be doing. That way nobody easily sways you. Well, I tell you something, no matter the technology is fine. I mean, social media really just started, but for some of us that have been around for a bit longer than the social media wave started, one critical thing which a lot of artisans lack, is investment in machinery. A lot of things that we do with so much, for want of a better word, a lot of the thing we manualize, is done by hand and doesn't quite give that finesse in terms of the finishing and all that. Abroad, there's a lot of automation involved. So I would say for me, a lot of investment in automation has been critical, in my business. Aside from automation, even in terms of technology, even in terms of ensuring that, okay, things are uploaded, things are, aside from the social media and all that, because no matter how much social media content you're churning out, if your back end is not nicely put together, when people come to actually patronize, they don't get that value. So it's just a smokescreen. You need to be able to ensure that your back end, your home is nice and tight and nicely put together. That is critical before you now talk about making the noise that will attract more crowd.
Any advice for a budding entrepreneur?
Very simple advice. And I get it from Sun Tzu, famous Chinese philosopher. There's a book he wrote, very popular book, The Art of War. Know thyself. Know thyself. Your ability to know thyself 50% of life's battles are won. Knowing thyself, knowing you have to know your giftings, your passion, your calling. Know what you're meant to do. You're not doing it because the next Joe is doing it. You're doing it because this is what you are made to do. That is one. 2, know thy enemy. The enemy in this case could be your environment. So Nigeria doesn't have lights, that's a given. So there's no water, that's a given. So the roads are bad, that's a given. So you have poor artisanship, that's a given. So you need to understand your working environment. So the clients might be difficult, that's a given. You need to understand that your ability to know thyself and know your environment ensures that life's battles and victory and success will always be yours. So that I think is a summation, because I could tell you, oh, be disciplined, be focused. It's all about knowing thyself. You need to know that your work ethics are non-compromisable. There's no easy way to the top. There's no shortcut. There's no microwave. You need to pay, the price to get there and stay there. So that's, in summation, is my candid advice. My name is Adedoyin Balogun. I run Baldon Clothiers. I'm a leadpreneur.